If you think about Northern Ireland, it's just almost directly opposite to everything you think of here. Rain, green, hills. Burkina Faso has none of those.
It's a very hot country, and like I say, it's very poor. We, pretty much lived in the community. The last time we went out, we actually were, living out in the desert with the locals. No bathroom facilities. It's just like going out camping. It's just a country that they've got very little, but it's ironic how happy they seem to be with the little that they've got.
My name's Robert McCullough. I'm, in this context, the treasurer of Legacurry Presbyterian Church, which has been the sponsor of the activities with Bukina Faso over the last few years.
And the first 5 wells are going to be in this general area, and then we'll be...
Up till 2001, we'd carried out a large number of building projects and refurbishment and building projects, which had taken a lot of effort over about a 10 to 15 year period. Around about that time, we started looking at other things to do, other things to look at, and we decided to have a greater focus on some other projects involving sort of people rather than buildings. And then by 2002, we started to look at the possibility of doing an overseas project, looking at the world a bit bigger than perhaps just Northern Ireland. So hence then we started to look in 2002 at possible overseas projects. We had spent about 3 or 4 months investigating projects in Kenya and other places, but found that we were having difficulty just getting people and places tied up and projects tied up. At that stage, Tier Fund suggested that we might like to work with their partner in West Africa, in Burkina Faso. Would we consider a project there? And having done the usual question of where's Burkina Faso, we then actually within a couple of weeks had really got further down the planning cycle than we had in 4 months of trying all our projects. So it really, we then focused on the Burkina Faso at that time. Too far to travel every day to Bursi? Yeah.
Well, I've been a member of Legacurry for 6 years when I moved to Belfast, and started working with some of the charitable projects that they had been doing. I noticed that they had gone to Africa on several occasions. I decided that I wanted to put my name forward to participate, if I got selected. And I think 3 years ago, I actually went to Bukina Faso with the group the first time, where we actually worked to put a roof on one of the schools there in Bukina Faso, as well as we actually repaired a couple of wells, and we actually worked on putting a wall around a school that was there in Bukina Faso.
Bukina Faso is located in west part of Africa. It used to be a French colony. It's a landlocked country, so you can go for nearly 700 miles to have access to the sea in the west. Because of that, the country is facing some limitation and problems in terms of economy. So we are helping our government, working alongside our government to improve people's life by providing education, basic health, and other development programs.
If you think about Northern Ireland, it's just almost directly opposite to everything you think of here. Rain, green, hills. Burkina Faso has none of those. It's flat, it is very infertile largely, and it is and only has rain for 2 or 3 months of the year. It's extremely hot all year, and particularly in the sort of January to April period gets temperatures well over 40 degrees on a regular basis. So it's quite different from entirely opposite to Northern Ireland in many ways.
One of the poorest countries in the world. You know, it's just a country that they've got very little, but it's ironic how happy they seem to be with the little that they've got. It's a Muslim country, but they're very tolerant to other religions.
We just came out of severe food crisis in 2005, and this year in Bukina Faso we went through some flooding, as you heard in the news. So these are situations facing people, and we are there to help improve their lives.
The group that we worked with is a group called AEAD, and they're a charitable organization, but they're located there in Bukina Faso, and we work with Pastor Philippe, who has come back and forth to Northern Ireland.
We work in partnership with groups like TFON. We work in partnership with friends like the Legacurry Presbyterian Church here in Northern Ireland. We also work with some people in Holland and in Germany and in Norway. And these are charities that believe in what we do and who came to visit us, and who together we are working to improve people's life.
He is doing an international project with Oxford University. He's been doing over the last number of years a PhD at Oxford on the role of women's education in the development of Burkina Faso, of poor countries, and the lessons to be learnt from that. He then, being in Oxford for a few weeks each year, we've had the opportunity then to bring him over to Belfast, to Northern Ireland, to Legacurry, to stay with us for a number of visits. He has then got to know more of the people here, and more of us have got to know him as well, so that we realise that this is an organisation and a person really who has a vision for improving the welfare of people in Burkina Faso, using the sort of the levers, or the levers of state in around education, health, and under the auspices of the church there, that really by taking these practical benefits to people, they can really forward their lives and improve their lives considerably.
AED, we are in partnership with TFON UK, and part of the panel members. Often they invite us to London to help advise them about their international policies, and through that TFON has a program called Transform. By that they allow British people to go in the third world countries to projects like ours in AED, to be with the people, to see how people cope with poverty, to learn and share. So from that we had a team coming from the Presbyterian at Legacurry here, and that was the interest they built from that Transform team.
With the mix of their knowledge and the sort of inspiration that he was able to bring to the value of the work that was being done there, then we found his visits very, very informative, very helpful.
Because of the drilling aspect, we were working with a group called Friends in Action, which is another charitable type group, and they actually have people located there in Burkina Faso. They're really the people who have the expertise for the drilling. We're pretty much like the helpers. We actually provide the funding for the drilling of the wells, and we just try to provide any grunt work that we can do, the manpower to actually assist in helping the Friends in Action group, which take the lead and tell us what to do and what not to do.
Essentially, there are two groups. There are 10 wells that we're looking at. Friends in Action International are a Christian mission organisation and a registered charity whose aim is to assist other missionary organisations in taking the gospel to remote and isolated people groups throughout the world. In this general area, you'll probably come down to this main road and you'll head out towards it's a practical support role that we play. We work alongside other Christian and mission organisations and like-minded organisations, and we've primarily to date been working in West Africa, a number of countries in West Africa, Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, Ghana, Guinea, West Africa, and our focus, rather than being at home in Northern Ireland, is primarily overseas, and to date, as I say, has been in West Africa. The practical projects that we have been involved in vary from bridge construction projects through to water well drilling projects. We've also supported a number of other projects with shipping needs and equipment needs.
Today we are just visiting friends from Legacurry Church and our friends from Friends in Action in order to reflect about the possibilities of sending 3 teams in Bukina Faso during this coming November to help dig wells in villages to provide clean water. So among the people that are going to benefit from this work or contribute, we are part of that. So we are very happy to see a group of people from different work of life coming together, putting their thoughts together, their money together, and taking time to go and work themselves with us.
We got together the 3 Northern Ireland teams that were going out to Burkina Faso at that time. It was a chance for him to meet the teams then who were going out, and they involved people from Legacurry, people from other churches in Lisburn, and also from a team from PricewaterhouseCoopers who participated in the event as well.
Working alongside Bob and PricewaterhouseCoopers, he had been out on the trip for 3 years prior to us volunteering, so he had been showing video footage and telling us all about the updates on the water drilling project. So I thought it was a worthwhile project because it was very different from the type of work that I would normally do on a day-to-day basis.
I volunteered to go on this trip because Philip has been back and forwards from Bukina many times. His brother has visited our farm and stayed with us for approximately a month, and just very interested in what's going on in Bukina Faso and how in some way maybe we can help from here to advance their agriculture.
My name is John Urie. I am now retired, and the job that I done was actually repairing radio and televisions. And now that I'm retired, I've got more time in my hands, so this is why I'm going to do some voluntary work. Last year, we actually had been in Bukina Faso doing a project there, and I enjoyed it so much that I wanted to go again. So this is why I'm volunteered this year.
It's always great to see people from Northern Ireland getting not only financially behind the work of Friends in Action, but willing to give up their time, give up their holidays, give of their own resources, and to join a team as a volunteer for a couple of weeks. So these people from Legacurry are coming out to join us for 2 weeks at a time and to assist with drilling operations, putting in pumps for water supplies in villages, doing water quality testing work and other survey work.
As I could see last year, actually, the ladies had to carry the water so far that I think this drilling project will actually be beneficial to the people of Bukina.
I'm going to spend a few days going around. They have 2 farms, and I'm going to look at the type of soil they have and see what sort of water there is available for irrigation, and just really to see if it's feasible to grow crops in any better quality and form than what they do themselves at the minute. After that, I'm hoping to meet up with the rest of the team from Legacurry South and help to bore water wells for the remaining part of my time.
When I mention about this project to other people I work with, they always say I wish I had the nerve to do it, and it's the kind of thing that everybody thinks that they would like to do at some stage, but it's just getting round to it and taking the bull by the horns as such and actually going and getting involved. And I'm looking forward to it in I suppose in a different kind of way than you would in a normal holiday, and that I don't expect it to be a restful 2 weeks relaxation, but it's actually something that probably over time you get a lot more out of, or actually right away you get a lot more satisfaction in actually providing a very staple thing to people, which is running water.
Travelling there, of course, as to any African country, is a bit different. It's so hot and dusty, and it's quite daunting, obviously, on the first occasion when people actually go there. You arrive at Ouagadougou Airport, of course you're immediately hit by the hot air. You arrive into the sort of customs clearance and the passport control, so you go through that. You need a visa, which can be obtained locally. It's actually immigration into the country is not that difficult, and compared to I've travelled in other countries, and actually it's quite straightforward compared to some others. But naively we arrived with knowing Pastor Philippe's name, possibly his address, but definitely not his telephone numbers, and we're sort of expecting that someone might know him because we knew him in Ireland. But in fact, of course, Ouagadougou is a city of 4 million people, and it's not that simple. But fortunately he was available within the airport. He has had good relations with airport authorities, bringing in teams, I say Frontier Fund and others, bringing in teams, so he was able to meet us there and help us to clear the customs and to clear passport control and so on. Some of the things you wouldn't see happen in this country, he was given a pass to come into the secure area. We were given passes to go out into the unsecure area and come back in again. So things like that wouldn't actually happen in this country, but where feasible there.
Well, it's more of an agricultural country. I mean, it's, it used to be a French colony, so French is the main language there. What was impressive for me on my last visit is the different products that they actually grow themselves. Because of their French relationship, they're big on bread, French bread. So we got fresh bread every morning. But some of the other items that that I was very impressed with was the fresh vegetables that we got. We would get bananas, we get mangoes, onions, potatoes, plantains, tomatoes, rice. I was very, very surprised that they had so many rice fields, rice paddies that were there. And what's interesting is that they don't have the high-tech farming machinery that we would have here. But they're very good at growing their crops there, and they pretty much live and survive off of most of the farming products that they actually grow there internally themselves. The main roads aren't too bad. The problem is the way people drive there, and because you've got so many people on bicycles and walking, it's almost like an accident waiting to happen. But there are very few accidents. It's like they're used to driving the way of people jumping in and jumping out, and just going back and forth. On a 2-lane highway, it looks like it's a 8-lane highway because all of the other people jump over and jump on both sides of the lane trying to get across or go past you. But it looks dangerous, but it's I guess they're used to it, and so they tend to be able to move forward. And I saw very few accidents. I think I didn't see hardly any accidents while I was doing my 2 trips there. It's mainly the women that walk with the water, and they actually put these big pails on their head to walk with the water. So you're talking about a heavy weight that's going on their head to actually carry the water. I mean, I've seen women with the baby on the back and on a bicycle, and the pail on her head, riding the bicycle with the water going back. So it's amazing how they can actually do that. I mean, I would have trouble just trying to carry the water, basically.
The first project we did was to re-drill a well that we drilled in 2005. Particular village, we drilled a well. It hadn't worked that well. Some of them don't, and we'd gone back to drill it again, and or to re-drill it just next to the old site. That was quite an amazing experience because the first day the team spent a full 10 hours in the heat, drilling, and all they came across was dust and rock, and no sign of water in that time at all. We were down to our last 3 or 4 drilling rods. They're added to create the depth, so we'd gone down almost 100 metres, far further than the drilling team had ever gone before. They were down to their last 2 or 3 rods and basically had given up that this was going to happen. So we went back that evening. We considered that we couldn't leave this particular village for a second time, not having got them a water supply, and that we would try again with the last 2 or 3 rods the following morning. So rather than lose extra time in the time it was going to take to do that, we got up an hour earlier, which was sort of 5:30 rather than 6:30 in the morning. Went out at daybreak and started to drill. Guys in the previous day had been that close to getting it, had really lost hope and had given up that it was not going to happen. And yet the following morning when we went back, it was truly amazing, because within 10 minutes and probably about another 3 or 4 inches of drilling, or a foot of drilling in the rock, we actually struck water. No one could believe it, and it was just absolutely really inspiring and really amazing that we got that. So that sort of set the tone for the rest of the rest of our time there, and that we felt that the conditions could be difficult, the challenges could be great, but actually, the inspiration of actually being able to achieve that was tremendous. Basically, the water is coming from boreholes. They're boreholes with a sort of 6-inch pipe that brings the water to the surface. So at that depth, generally speaking, if you get a good well, the water is clean enough to drink. Even for us, would be clean enough to drink directly from the source. Obviously, you have to be careful about the pipes it's brought in, more so almost than the actual water supply. So you typically wouldn't drink from a fresh well until it had been pumped out for some time. Not because the water is impure, but because the pipes that have been lying around in the ground may be far from clean. I mean, that's a challenge of actually and a real, really worthwhile doing to get that sort of feeling of a water supply and a water flow. You're looking for a supply that's strong enough. Sometimes you hit water, but it's a poor supply, and you need more. You go on a bit, and maybe the so-called rocks, which are more like silt or sand, are collapsing around the hole, and in that case, then sometimes you have to abandon the hole. But it's certainly well worthwhile when it all works. There is a language barrier, especially in the remote villages. The communication was quite difficult because we sort of had a bit of common language in French. In the cities, a few people, or quite a number of people, could speak French in the bigger cities certainly, and a very few could speak some English. In the remote villages, even speaking French was quite a challenge, and most people couldn't manage that. So we were on to sort of translations into local languages and so on, which does cause a bit of communication difficulties, but by and large, people really received us in such a friendly way. They are so remote that they really have none of the facilities that we would expect to have in our homes here, or almost none, and it's just so different. But their hospitality, their interest in making us welcome and so on, was really worthwhile seeing. It was really good.
They've always been very helpful and very friendly and supportive. I think they realize and understand, you know, while we're here, while we're there for them. We're not there to actually, you know, convert them. You know, even though we're coming there from a church standpoint, you find the Muslims and the Christians, you know, the water is there for all of them. You know, it's not because of one religion or a different religion. So, you know, they're very receptive to, you know, to us coming there. They know why we're coming there. They're very supportive and helpful, and you know, provide us with as much support as they can. You know, I mean, in terms of, you know, helping us, you know, feeding us lunch and, you know, feeding us dinner, and, you know, just in general, just helping us throughout the day, you know, in our work that we're doing.
Crowds turn up in the evening, and you know, people turned up from all sorts of places when the local pastor was having a meeting related to the wells and the well drilling and so on, which were done on their behalf. They suddenly had, you know, people, 200 or 300 people could turn up for an evening, just learning more about the church and about what it was standing for and why it had you know, brought us and the water to the local villagers. So they responded very positively.
I think it should go to Friends in Action.
The only communications we had in that village was a satellite phone, which was quite intermittent in its operation. Even there, the mobile phones didn't work. There was no electricity, and there were no obviously fixed line telephones or anything like that in these remote villages. The way of life was different. The first night we were given a little sort of mud hut church building to sleep in. The first night, 4 or 5 of our party slept inside it, and a couple of us slept outside. The second night, everyone slept outside, and the reason for that is that some of the locals had found a scorpion in the clothes in the corner during the day in between. So funnily enough, the snakes outside seemed a little less daunting than the scorpions inside, and most people slept out under the stars thereafter. The Sunday services in the local church are just a little different from Ireland. You can hit the Sunday with the short service, which is 2 hours, or the Sunday with the long service, which is 4 hours. So typically people are gathering at the church from 8 o'clock in the morning. They may have different Bible classes or Sunday schools, and then there's a main service. As I say, it just depends on which on what's happening in a particular week, but that can be a sort of 2 to 4 hour service up until the middle of the day. We used those just for you know, taking some rest and getting some relaxation, having spent most of the working days, if you like, of the week sort of on 12-hour days, basically, because there's 12 hours of daylight, so you tend to work most of the daylight hours, and so we were glad of the Sunday to actually have a change. Just in some cases we maybe saw around a little bit of the area, and in other cases just took some rest in the afternoons.
I'm blessed to be able to return for the second year to help and try to improve the lives of the adults and children.
Je suis heureux d'avoir cette grâce de revenir puisqu'il était là l'année dernière.
Yeah, we did not work on Sunday. A couple of times we might be driving from one place to another, from one well location to another well location. But in terms of working, no, we never worked on Sunday. If we were in the capital, then we would actually go to Pastor Philippe's church for service in the morning.
He's actually over a number of churches, but we attended his church in Ouagadougou on the Sunday, and we would normally try to fit in at least once there while we're with him.
Our faith is built on an expectation of heaven. Et notre foi est construite sur l'attente des choses célestes. On working through our Christian lives here on earth.
When you go to actually participate in the service, so he would encourage. He always encourages the visitors to take some part in the services if we want to do so. Pastor Philippe has a vision for creating primary and secondary schools particularly in a couple of areas. Ouagadougou is the capital. Part of the area where he's working is very much in the fringes of the city, the poorest areas of the city, but also in a place called Gursi to the north. And more recently, he's just starting a new project in a city called, or a town called Ouagadougou, in the far north, right on the Mali border again. And he has been producing primary and secondary schools. In 2006, we had another team go out to help build some classrooms in a new school at Gursi, a new secondary school at Gursi. They'd had a primary school for a few years. In fact, on our first trip in 2005, we had provided a water well at the primary school. We had also, although the secondary school wasn't built, had provided a well at the site of the secondary school. Then in 2006, we sent out a team to help build some of the classrooms for the new secondary school. I think that the plan was to have one class, an initial class of 11-year-old children of about 40 pupils, and I think over 400 turned up. So in the few months since then, or a year, just over a year since then, that school now has over 400 pupils at it. It's full again, and again looking for further expansion. So we've helped their schools projects in a couple of different ways, as I say, in providing water, in providing funds to actually build the classrooms, and to actually, we've had teams out to help build the school.
Is it clean?
Yes.
We did some building in classrooms, we did some building in the wall around the school, because the children need protection. Within that school we have the kindergarten, the primary and the secondary. So the work they help us do is helping us to give access to education. I'm sitting here with you today, and in the top of the building we did together, we were able to finish 4 new classrooms, and that gives access to nearly 500 children now.
I think one of the things that strikes you about going to a country like that is, in fact, okay, the climate's entirely different, the terrain is entirely different, the people are a different colour, they speak a different language, but their sense of community is very similar in many ways to a sense of community here at home. And certainly if we went back in this country 50 or 100 years, you would find that villages work together, people in country areas would have different interactions, and that would be quite, it's remarkable just the sort of similarities that are there, as well as the differences. I suppose the thing that strikes you is that people are happy even though they have nothing. In many cases they can be happy, I say, not with any material wealth, but with just being together, and they, like African, the people in Bukina Faso, are just happy that you spend time with them on occasions, as opposed to actually doing anything necessarily. So I think we can learn that being with people and being friendly and with people is as important as actually doing things for them or to them.
I think what it showed is that how people can be happy and content with so little. I think in the Western world, everybody's into the designer clothes, and they've got to have the big cars and the big TVs and the Wii games and all that. And at one of the villages, we were giving out balloons, and they were just so happy to get the free balloons, and running around playing with them and blowing them up. We had bottled water, as we were which we brought in, the bottles, the plastic bottles, as we threw them away, you know, the kids would be running over there fighting over them because, you know, that would be their container. You know, if they were lucky enough to actually get that container, that would be like their cup, you know, and, you know, we just take advantage, you know, take that for granted.
So we have a good well in one of our health centers providing clean water, and we have another well by our school in Goodsey, and we help other churches and other village people have clean water. So that was very good, and our government, our regional government, were very happy. Like in case of labor, when we went there, the local government said this is really an answer to our prayer because the whole area were badly hit by drought, and the well that is there running now is really good for the whole community.
We have been in discussion again with people in Bukina Faso again with the possibility of having another well drilling trip either later this year or early next year. Sometimes these things take some time to come to fruition, so but we work together to hope that will actually happen.
It was a rewarding experience for me, and you know, if I got a chance to go again, I would definitely put my hand up. You know, I enjoyed the work there. It was hot, you know, but it was rewarding to see, you know, how people appreciated, you know, what we were trying to do for them.
Staying with friends at a church in Legacurry, and they have organized a barbecue for us this afternoon. So friends are coming, and we'll be eating and talking and sharing about life in Bukina Faso. So I'm glad it is, you know, nice weather today, and we'll be enjoying ourselves shortly.
I think the locals on a humanitarian scale are just thrilled. Just the outpouring of their joy, it's incredible. It's hard to describe in words, just the response and the reaction of the people in the village when we strike water. Just the women are singing, the women are shouting for joy when we find water in these villages. They make it very clear to us that we're warmly accepted in their village, that they appreciate the work. They bring chickens, goats, peanuts, whatever they can bring, whatever they can afford out of the little that they have, they give, and they let us know that we're welcome and appreciated.
I think it's very good for young people, for anyone who can go across or go over to places such as Bukina Faso to see the world, because there's a lot of contrast. When you go there, you see how people cope with life and how they struggle and how they can be happy even with being poor financially or economically. So there is something one can learn, values, you know, being human, loving your neighbor, this and the value of the family life. So I think when you go there, you are exposed and you give something, but I think you receive more than what you give.
We're hoping to continue to take teams from Northern Ireland out to West Africa. The next team from Northern Ireland will likely be in either at the end of 2008 or early 2009. So we're really looking forward to taking more people out from Northern Ireland, giving them a little bit of the experience of the West African people, the culture, and also the work of Friends in Action.
Africa is not, sometimes when you heard about Africa, you heard about the bad news. I don't know how many times you heard about Bukina Faso, but Bukina Faso is a peaceful country, and you know, there's freedom, and you can go anywhere at any time. So yes, Africa is open, and it's good for you to go there and have your life-changing experiences, because when you come back, you won't be the same person at all.
There were 3 teams from Northern Ireland with a target of 10 wells over the 6 weeks. We managed 9 of those across that sort of 6-week period, and the 10th one has been completed by Friends in Action in the period since then. So we pretty much achieved the target for that Northern Ireland supported project.
Some of the things that we were doing there, is to benefit all, not to benefit just the Christians, but it's benefiting the Muslims also, because water. Someone needing water has no barrier as to what religion you are. If you need water, you need water, and I think that's the way AEAD looks at it also, and that's the way Legacurry Church looks at it. We're there to help provide water and a service, to people who have less than I think what we have.
People in Bukina Faso are very happy. The government is very happy for civil societies like AED, among others, who can work in partnership with friends across the world to bring some kind of solution to the basic need of people. So at the community level, at the regional level, at the national level, our people in Bukina Faso are very happy. So, on behalf of them, I want to thank you for being interested in our part of the world and coming yourself and giving money to help improve the life.
Amen.